Here's what we do.
Give ready.
Acknowledge the precision. Acknowledge the precision.
Ain't no time for hesitation.
Me myself, I'm not gonna speak on the behalf of the whole activist community, but I wasn't trained in community organizing. That was something I had to learn as I went. So while I was learning, I wasn't taught protesting should be the last thing you want to do. It's like war. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't want to go to war as your first option. Marching is to draw attention to your cause. Whatever you're trying to raise awareness to, that's what you should be marching for. Protesting is when you're not getting what you're marching for or rallying and, requesting. Then you got to protest your grievance. But that's some things we want to talk. So we really want to bring, so I say that to say, we want to bring attention to policy. We need policy change. And I think when it comes to Laquan McDonald, everybody knows, or there's a strong consensus across the city and even across the country, that it was a conspiracy to cover up this young man's death. It was a conspiracy amongst the Cook County State's Attorney Office, by then Anita Alvarez. It was a conspiracy with the chief executive of the city, Mayor Rahm Emanuel. It was a conspiracy with the city council and all the 50 aldermen. It was 48 aldermen that voted for the settlement, a $5.5 million settlement to give to this young man's family. Steve Patton, I need people to know this, the corporation counsel, the lawyer for the city at that time, his name was Steve Patton. Steve Patton went in front of city council, you understand me, and told city council it was a video, it was a dash cam of a young man walking away from Chicago police officers, and he was unarmed and he was shot 16 times. So for any alderman to say that they did not know about this video or they did not exist, they're absolutely fraudulent and they're lying. They're lying to our community.
So
and
the
they're lying
blood
to
is
the
on their
people.
hands.
The blood is on their hands. So with that being said, with the Cook County State's Attorney Office, with the Mayor's Office, and with the City Council, we need some policy to remove them. We just so happened we was able to move Anita because her election was up. Her re-election was around the time the tape came out. But Rahm just got re-elected 7 months prior. Right. So now we got to look at 4 years of him, and with with our local city councilmen. We need legislation that would give us community members the power to remove these elected officials if we ever deem them unfit to hold that public office. And this Laquan McDonald Act does that. It's House Bill 4041. It's in the House of Representatives, right? It's in the State House right now. And with that Laquan McDonald Act, it's recall legislation. It's 38 states across the country right now that has recall legislation where you can have some type of protocol to remove elected officials if you think they fugazi. Illinois does not have anything like that. We don't have no recall measurements in place to remove local elected officials if we ever think they did something out of line or they just not doing their due diligence in their office. This Laquan legislation is very important. Not only to commemorate Laquan McDonald, but to hold these elected officials accountable. I guarantee you, y'all, the moment that this legislation passed, you will see a whole different change in the way that the city council handles things. The local government in the city should always be weak mayor, strong city council. Yes, sir. Weak mayor, strong city council. But unfortunately, it's not that in the city of Chicago. It has never been like that. It always has been strong mayor, weak city council. You have 17 black aldermen down there right now. 19 black aldermen. Thank you for the correction. 19 black aldermen that's not standing up to Rahm Emanuel right now. It's taking community members like us, disenfranchised community members like us, to stand up against their leaders, to stand up against Rahm Emanuel, to say, no, you're not going to close our schools. No, you're not going to keep closing mental health clinics when our neighborhoods are traumatized from all this violence and oppression and poverty. No, you're not finna keep letting the police kill and shoot us disproportionately and dead in the streets in cold blood like this. You know you're not about to do that. Yeah. With this Laquan McDonald Act, with this Laquan Law, we can change politics in the city of Chicago forever. And even put accountability on the Cook County State's Attorney Office. Even though Anita is gone, we still need to have accountability on that seat. It's not for the person, it's for the office. It's not about the person, it's about the office, the seat. We need to have accountability on that seat.
Now, my question is to you, because I love policy. I appreciate policy. I got to study it every day. Who sponsored the bill?
Let's talk about it. So the bill. So this is the second time. Just for clarity, this is the second time this bill has been introduced. The last legislator was introduced by then Ken Duncan. He was on his exodus. Now, when I went down there earlier this year to get the bill reintroduced, it was introduced by State Representative Barbara Wheeler, which is a white Republican from DuPage County. Why, Will, did you get a white Republican from DuPage County to sponsor a bill? Will, y'all, I gotta tell you that I asked most of your black state lawmakers from the city of Chicago to endorse this bill and sponsor this bill, and they all told me no.
Yeah, but you know why?
Why though?
But you know why?
It's politics. This is the type of pandering that's going on behind the scenes, where Chicago and Springfield are really connected and colluding with a lot of the policies that's going on. So if I'm a state lawmaker and this alderman is in my district, and we might be buddy and we might be friends, I don't want to piss him off. No, Calloway, I'm not sponsoring that. Or no. And then that's the first thing. But the ultimate second thing, the overall thing is Mike Madigan. Is that these black aldermen are down there on a real life live plantation. And I know how people feel about Ken Duncan, and I can't agree. If your homie do something, you be like, I understand, but I wouldn't have did it like that. And that's how I feel about KD. KD Hart was in the right place. Methodically, I disagree with how he got down about it. He was taking a stance against Mike Madigan. And we all need to. Ronna needs to go, but Mike Madigan needs to go too. And that needs to be emphasized in this election cycle. Mike Madigan is the longest serving Speaker of the House in United States history. Of 40 years,
bro.
Yeah.
He old.
And making them type of decisions, you know, I don't even want to play the race card, but you making them type of decisions that for that many years, for so many black people.
No, play the race card.
But that
we have a right to say that. We have the right to say that.
Black people, this man, he does not care about our issues. Mike Madigan does not care about our issues. He doesn't care about me. He don't care about you. He don't care about Laquan McDonald. He don't care about these names on this flyer. And then you got these black state lawmakers down there that's sitting up there submitting to the will of Mike Madigan because they're scared of losing their seats. I went down there and I sat in that Galleria, man. I sat down there and I watched these people do absolutely nothing.
Right.
They don't do nothing, man.
Right.
They down there off our money.
Right.
And I'm going down there on the Amtrak every day. You understand? Trying to push this legislation by myself. If I need to, it's documented. I'm on Instagram showing them. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is real life stuff. These state lawmakers have to go. Like my boy Willie Preston always say, running for state rep in the 31st district, he always say we need a new breed of leadership, and he right.
And we do. Because the problem is for so long we have been beholden to like bipartisan or political parties.
Right.
We need to like be independent, in my opinion. Like the reason why they didn't endorse Laquan Law is because we know Illinois lawmakers are predominantly Democrat. Chicago has been ran by Democrats. And so the problem is, like, people haven't made the connection of, like, all this poverty, all these socioeconomic conditions of black people being, like, just in bad conditions are the result of failed leadership on the Democrat Party. And now I don't identify as Republican, but we got to call a spade a spade. And I won't identify as Republican, but so I believe like what Malcolm X said. He said like we need to hold our votes.
I do hold my vote.
We need to hold our votes and have them come and get our votes. Because obviously they're not representing the world that we want to see, things that we advocate for. All these school closings under Democrat leadership, under black Democrat leadership, and we have to call that out. We have to continuously call that out. And so part of my work is continuously exposing this contradiction of like us saying, oh, we have a black caucus that's not representing like black issues, right? And it's also teaching the youth to start holding folks accountable. For so long, our elders told us to vote. Vote, vote, vote. They did not tell us to hold these officials accountable. They did not tell us to go to these officials' office, raise hell when they don't act on behalf of black people. And that's what we have to do. Because right now, when you have like when we're in state government, like Will was referring to, like the Laquan Law, I remember as like when I was up there on behalf of Chicago State arguing for money, you had a fight where I would think like Chicago State University is underfunded compared to like these other universities, UIC, University of Illinois, Champaign, the University of Chicago, a private institution. I was like, Chicago State is underfunded. How do you expect black folks from a school that's predominantly black, that has a lot of veterans, and that's in a diverse community, to prosper among these colleges in Illinois? I would go down to Springfield, and I would meet with black Democrats who were willing to compromise our funding, for nothing. The governor did not want to sign the budget. The black Democrats were not pushing for more. They wanted to compromise. It was like, okay, yes, we're going to continue to take money away from Chicago State. I was like, no, we need more funding. They was like, no, we need to minimize the reduction that the government is doing.
Yes. I'm gonna touch on that in a minute, but we got Mark Card on the line. Mark, talk to me.
Look, y'all. If you want to understand power, you know what I'm saying, and understand how, well, let me go to it. The Jews are being less than 1% of the city. Ron cannot stay in office unless black people sit at home. Had Chewy and them got in power, the same thing that happened down that's happening and happened down in California, Compton and Washington, all those areas would have happened in Chicago. When they get in place, they're going to push everybody out of the city. They're going to push everybody out of power. Stop thinking that you got some allies in these so-called brown brothers. They are not on your agenda. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you straightforward, if you look at La Raza, the Hispanic Party, these people have been talking about this since the 70s on how they want to change the equation from white versus black to Hispanic versus white. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually they would run over you. Stop thinking, and I'm saying to you all as our young brothers and sisters, look, y'all got a warped sense of thinking when y'all talking about these Hispanics. Y'all got a warped sense of thinking when y'all think y'all understand the politics of how these people are operating. These people are positioning themselves to take over economically and politically. You know what I'm saying? They're not your allies.
Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I agree that black people need to organize for themselves. Like I always practice like self-empowerment and the fact that we have to build capacity within ourselves to oppose like the democratic machine, because that's been our fight forever. But I also believe like in the teachings of like Fred Hampton, where he says, you know, brown power for brown people, black power for black people, and the fact that there is room to work with their poor. Like there are similarities between the black community and the Hispanic community in terms of like gentrification. There are like rich Mexicans or rich Latinos gentrifying Pilsen under like Rom's watch. He snatches their elite like he snatches black elite. And so like there are like certain, like we can't just categorize like one entire race of people as having like one certain politic, because that's not like black people. I don't have the same politics as like a lot of these pastors. I don't have the same politics as Barack Obama. A lot of Latinos don't have the same politic as Chewy.
Or Louis Gutierrez.
So we had to...
Hey, stop. Hey, no brother.
Hold on, let him finish. Let him finish.
So I think we have to get ourselves together. I always say that. I always preach that we have to get ourselves together. But I don't think it hurts to identify those who are in a similar position, who share the similar politic for us to get our goals out here. It's like the Black Panthers and like the Young Patriots. Like that's what they did. Like they had them organize their own communities. We organize our own communities, and then when the time comes, we hit the white power structure. We hit the Democrat machine, and we change the world.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to respond to brother. You know what I'm saying? Look, brother. I'm not saying that if we can come together and fight the immigration fight, and they help us fight the prison reform fight, just say for example, because both of the fights are the same. So you got two groups of people who have broken the law. One has served their time already. The other one hasn't served their time for the crime. And both are trying to get their records clean so they can go to work, right? So when we met with some of the immigration heads in Chicago, we say, well, okay, well, help us fight for ex-offenders, you know, to be respected and not discriminated against, so ex-offenders can get jobs. They didn't want to fight that fight. They were there only for their fight.
Wait. Now, because this is where, you know, whether they on Facebook Live or Q4.org or wherever they're listening from, this is where it will get confusing listening to your rhetoric. Because if you say you for black people, period, you know what I'm saying? As long as they're not selling out the community. I personally don't give a damn if you're gay. I don't give a damn if you're a lesbian. I don't give a damn if
I'm speaking up for black people.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because there are, like, even regardless if BYP got gay people in there, I know Black Lives Matter was founded by two same-sex loving women, whatever. These are people who, at the end of the day, are for black people. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can we say we for our people and then discriminate against a certain group? Just doing a disservice to our own people.
Maurice, I was not going against the black gay community. I'm saying to you that the white gay community fight is not to benefit the black gays. I'm trying to show you across the board when it comes to black people, everybody uses us to help them fight their fight. But nobody is trying to make sure at the end that we benefit. So
now,
I'm not
clarifying that's what I needed you to clarify, because the way you worded it and the way you said it, you know what I'm saying? It was just like the LGBT fight ain't ours. Because I know for a fact, like, I mean, you know Mikey Everything, who is one of my business partners and the host of the Mikey Everything show. Gay as hell.
And I totally agree with that.
And they go through the fight.
Agree with that sentiment. When I was a part of organizations like BYP 100, I would raise the issue of like fighting for like poor black trans people, poor black gay people. You can go to 75th and whatever, and you see poor black transgender. And who's fighting for them? Like no one, like no one. So I get the sentiment that he's coming from. There, like poor people aren't at the forefront of movements, and that's a sentiment.
No. I say just a little bit. This. Look, let me make it clear. Look, whether you're gay, whether you're ex-offender, whether you're on welfare, look, all poor people, I'm talking about literally all poor people, don't have, there is no fight to make sure that poor people are respected, not discriminated against. All this discrimination being talked about in the country.
And that's why I agree with you, brother.
I would agree with that as well.
That's why
nobody is talking about the discrimination against black people. Nobody is talking about the discrimination against black gays. Nobody's talking about discrimination against black ex-felons. You know what I'm saying? You literally have the liberals that are talking about, man, we're not gonna let y'all discriminate against foreigners that come in this country with Trump's ban. Damn it, we've been banned and we live right here in the damn country.
I can agree. I feel you.
Now, the one thing that I will say,
I agree with 70% of what the brothers say.
You know,
like for me, there is like black people that have been falling into this white liberal program, and that's something I've always been like adamantly against. You know,
never identified as a liberal.
And just me black poor people have not been censored, but we will always receive the butt of all their policies. We'll always be left out and on the margins, and until we come together and identify black poor people as being the ones most impacted, then our issues will never solve. What I do want to speak on is that like the black gay and black LGBTQ community has often never always been involved in our struggle. And so what the white liberal community did was like we're gonna reel them in because black people, the ones who's in the forefront of the movement, were like, we ain't touching y'all. We ignoring y'all. And so like my thing is like, no, we need all black people. We need all black people centered in our fight. And so that includes like the whole spectrum of whatever you identify with. As long as your politics is like like he said, anti-white liberal, anti-white conservative, if we have a politics for our own people that basically will bring about change for black poor people. We got to keep centering black poor people. We'll be good.
You know,
all of
when I look at gentrification as a whole right now, when I look at what's going on in Austin, you know what I'm saying? Like Austin being super gentrified right now, Lawndale, because it's the hub of literally everything. It's a blackhead, seriously. And then I look at South Shore. It is not white racist Republicans coming into the community. It is somebody that's a liberal or call themselves progressive. They're the ones who are coming in, saying, "Oh, let's start a revolution." And you got a $20 coffee in their hand. You know what I'm saying? And they're taking you out of the community.
I'm anti-establishment. I'm pro black people. And so like it doesn't matter what you identify as, whether it's like liberal or conservative, because what I identify as is pro-black. Like as long we need housing, we know what we need. We need housing, we need schools, we need funding, we need resources, we need jobs, we need all these things. And if you can't bring about that without expending our people, without at the expense of our people call for like better policing, which is code for mass incarceration in my opinion. So if you can't advocate for that without our expense, then you ain't really of our community, and you ain't really fighting for our best interests. So whatever you identify as politically, whether it be Democrat, Republican, if I don't see you centering our interests at heart, then I'm not with you.
Thanks for listening to Alternative Thought on Loaded Eardrum Media. And subscribe to our YouTube channel at Loaded Eardrum to see our other shows.